A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. Bringing you the news this evening, I'm Steven Machado. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
India or Pakistan? The T20 battle begins. 4 suspects identified in the Akureguda lawyer's assassination. Bar Association decides to withdraw from court proceedings tomorrow. Vehicles used in the Jintupitia and Kalutara shootings found. Politicians in power nurtured the underworld. No threat to national security, says former Army Commander Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca. Hindu devotees celebrate Mahashivaratri.
Today match, India will be win 100%.
Okay. Pakistan.
Pakistan.
India.
Yeah, for sure, 100% India. We win, of course. We are going to win.
Always India.
Inshallah, Pakistan will win today.
India or Pakistan? The highly anticipated India versus Pakistan clash of this year's T20 World Cup, which billions of cricket fans were eagerly waiting for, is currently underway at the R. Premadasa International Cricket Stadium in Colombo. Pakistan won the toss and elected to field first. India scored 175 runs for the loss of 7 wickets at the end of their allotted 20 overs. In response, Pakistan are currently at 13 runs for the loss of 2 wickets at the end of 1.5 overs. Players from both teams arrived at the stadium for today's match this evening. Later, President Kumar Dissanayake also arrived at the R. Premadasa International Cricket Stadium.
Special innings was from Ishan Kishan. On this wicket, it is going to be consistently like this. Every odd ball is going to keep turning, stopping. I think the slower you bowl on this wicket, it's going to be harder to score runs.
Just in general, going from the 3 games that have...
Many predicted that the India-Pakistan match of this year's T20 World Cup would not take place as scheduled. This followed an intervention by the Pakistan government, which initially stated that their team would not participate in the tournament. However, a few days prior to the match, President Kumar Dissanayake intervened by engaging in a telephone conversation with the Prime Minister of Pakistan. As a result of these discussions, it was officially announced that the Pakistani team would compete. Furthermore, Mohsin Naqvi, the chairman of the Pakistan Cricket Board and Federal Minister for Interior of Pakistan, arrived in Sri Lanka last night. Tickets for this highly anticipated encounter were completely sold out 24 hours before the first ball was bowled. As the stands overflowed with fans, the Sri Lanka Triforces were deployed to ensure security in the zones surrounding the stadium. India or Pakistan? Fans shared their excitement and opinions with us before the start of the match.
India. No doubt.
Pakistan. We can make Pakistan.
India. No, obviously we are Indians. We're from the Kerala.
අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම පාකිස්තාන් දිනනවා.
From my heart, I support India.
Pakistan dinai. Aniwaramage.
India, for sure, 100% India.
Thank you, government of Sri Lanka, BCCA, Sri Lanka Cricket Board. God bless you all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, India, 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 India.
We are Sri Lankan but we support Pakistan here today. All the best for both teams. Thank you very much.
The chairman of the International Cricket Council, Jay Shah, along with 11 high-ranking officials from the council, arrived to witness the match. They were welcomed at the Bandaranaike International Airport by Sri Lanka Cricket President Shami Silva and other officials. Before the commencement of the game, an opening ceremony was held featuring Indian artist Hanuman. This year.
Verity Research, an independent think and do tank based in Sri Lanka, conducted its latest round of the Gallup-style Mood of the Nation poll. Verity Research noted the approval rating of 65% has remained statistically stable from the 62% polled a year ago. For the first time in the poll's 4-year history, the share of those who rated current economic conditions as good or excellent exceeded those who rated them as poor. Perceptions of the economic outlook also improved. Those who said the economy was getting better increased to 64% from 55% 1 year ago, which points to more people having become more certain and more optimistic about the country's current economic direction. According to the research, compared to previous administrations, the current government has received a very high positive rating regarding its efforts to minimize drug trafficking and crime. Public perception regarding the reduction of corruption has also seen a significant improvement. A majority of the public, 59% to be exact, expressed satisfaction with the current direction in which the country is heading. According to Verity Research, this marks the first time in the 4-year history of this poll that public satisfaction with the country's progress has surpassed the 50% mark. The latest poll was based on a nationally representative, multi-stage, randomized sample of 1,048 Sri Lankan adults from separate households and was conducted from the 24th of January to 3rd of February 2026. The regularly conducted Mood of the Nation poll is part of the syndicated surveys instrument of Verity Research to enrich its regular macro-political briefings.
Police state that 4 suspects have been identified in connection with the Akuregoda double homicide. Meanwhile, the motor vehicle suspected to have been used in the killings was found set on fire today in Baddegama.
Early this morning, police discovered the motor vehicle suspected to have been used by the assailants who shot and killed attorney-at-law Buddhika Mallavarachi and his wife in Akuregoda, Thalangama. The vehicle was found while still on fire in the Agia Mulkada area of Baddegama, Gaul. The discovery was made following information received via the 119 emergency hotline. The vehicle, which was completely gutted by the fire, is scheduled to be presented to the government analyst for further forensic investigation. What is the current progress of the murder investigation? Police say that several suspects involved in this incident have already been identified.
There are several individuals involved in this incident, not just the 2 who opened fire. We have received information regarding 4 specific individuals. I have a strong belief that we will be able to solve this case within a day or 2.
12 teams have been deployed to arrest the suspects, including units from the Criminal Investigation Department, the Police Special Task Force, the Colombo Crimes Division and the Terrorist Investigation Division. Police further noted that the deceased lawyer had represented the organized criminal known as Karandeniya Sudha in several court cases. This matter was also questioned during today's police media briefing.
This shooting is a murder that has caused a deep shock within society. Accordingly, the police have directed extraordinary attention to this. I am personally overseeing the investigation alongside DIG SD Vijay Sekara, who is in charge of Western Province South. The STF and our other intelligence services making a total of 12 teams working to solve this crime. An attorney has the right to appear for a client regardless of whether they are a criminal or what type of criminal they may be. Furthermore, legal professional ethics clearly state what they should and should not do. They have the capacity to represent such persons. We are still in the investigative stage regarding the cases he appeared in. However, we cannot directly say that the police are investigating him specifically for appearing for certain suspects or criminals. We will only focus on that after the primary investigation is completed and the suspects are apprehended. At first, we have found nothing in that regard.
කිසියම් අවස්ථාවකදී මේ වෙඩිතැබීමට පෙර මේ නීතිඥවරයාව CID එකට හෝ පොලිස් මද්ද්‍රව්‍ය විනාශ කාර්යාංශයට හෝ ගෙන්වා කිසියම් මේ සම්බන්ධතාවයක් ගැනීම ප්‍රශ්න කිරීමක් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
එක් අවස්ථාවක මෙම නීතිඥවරයා
Yes, on one occasion this lawyer was questioned regarding a drug raid. It wasn't actually an interrogation but rather a clarification of facts. However, because of that we cannot say he was involved in drugs. It was just a clarification that one occasion. Other than that, nothing else has been reported to us.
පොලිසියට වාර්තා කළා තිබුණේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔවුන් දෙමෙන් විදේශගත වෙලාද? නීත්‍ය අනුකූල විදේශගත වෙන්න පුළුවන් තියෙන හැකියාව අපි නතර කරලා තියෙනවා.
Meanwhile, the remains of attorney Buddhika Mallabarachi and his wife, who were shot and killed in Akuregoda, Thalangama, were placed at a private funeral parlour in Boralla this morning for public respect. The remains were brought to their residence in Goda Amuna Pitigala, Alpitia, Gaul this evening. Meanwhile, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka says that all its members will withdraw from professional duties in courts tomorrow in protest against the murder of the attorney and his wife. This decision was reached following a meeting of all members held in Colombo today.
We decided at the meeting today that the Bar Association will take steps to compel the government to take urgent and robust measures to bring an end to the current culture of brutal killings and to ensure public security. Secondly, we decided that all attorneys at law will refrain from appearing in all courts throughout the country on Monday, the 16th of February 2026. We have also decided to call upon the law enforcement authorities to forthwith apprehend the perpetrators of these brutal killings and to expeditiously take steps according to law. We express the utmost displeasure of the BASL with regard to the public circulation and attempts of narrative creation through unverified information attributed as having been communicated by the police. We will be taking steps in that regard as well.
ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි තීරණය කරන්නේ මේ අවස්ථාවේ ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් තීරණය ගන්න අවස්ථාවක් තිබෙන්නේ අපි ඒ වෙලාවේ අවශ්‍ය පරිදි අපි තීරණය ගන්න. ඉතින් මතවාද කීපයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ අවස්ථාවේ අපි තීරණය කරනවා. ඔබතුමාලාම සංවිධානාත්මක අපරාධකරුවන්ට මේ රැකවරණය ලබා දීම තුලින්ම ඔබතුමාලාම අනාරක්ෂිත රක්ෂක පත්වලා කියලා එහෙම දෙයක් නෑ. ඒක ජනගත කරපු මතයක්. ජනගත කරපු මතයක්. පූර්ව නිගමනය අපේ සෑම කෙනෙක්ම නිර්දෝෂී. අපේ නීතිඥ වෘත්තියේ අපේ සදාචාර මේ ethics guidelines තියෙනවා. කළ යුතු දේ කරන්න බැරි දේ. ඉතින් එහෙම ඒක ඇත්තටම මේ අපරාධයක්. ඒක කරන්නේ එහෙම කරලා තියෙනවා ඒක වැරදි.
අර ආචාර්යවරු සඳහන් වෙනවා නේද? මේ එක පාර්ශ්වයකට ඉඳලා ඊට විරුද්ධ පාර්ශ්වය වෙනුවෙන්
ඔබතුමා මේ ප්‍රශ්න මගින් අහන්නේ මේ ගැන මොකක් හරි මේ පුද්ගලයන්ගෙන් සැකකරුවන්ගෙන් ප්‍රශ්න කළාද? මේ ජනගත කර මතයක් අපි දන්නේ නේ හරිද වැරදිද? එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. නමුත් ඒ අපි කවුරුත් ඒ මියගිය අපේ සහෝදරයත් බිරිඳත් අපිට කතා කරන්න බෑ. ඒ සැකකරුවනුත් මේ වෙලාවේ අල්ලලා නැහැ. ඉතින් කොහොමද මං කියන්නේ ඒක හොඳ ප්‍රශ්නයක්.
තුමා සංවිධානාත්මක අපරාධකරුවන් සමග සුදුසු සම්බන්ධතා පවත්වපු හින්දා
අපි දැන් කොහොමද ඒක දන්නේ?
අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවට කැඳවලා ප්‍රශ්න කරයි කියලා එහෙම
අපි දැනුවත් කරලත් අපි මේ ගැන මේ සිද්ධිය වෙනකන් අපි මේ ගැන මුකුත් දන්නෙත් නැහැ.
නීතිඥ සංගමයට විශාල බලයක් තියෙනවා නීතිඥවරුන්ගේ හැසිරීම භාවිතය ගැන. දැන් ඔබතුමා තත්පරට පත් වුණාට පස්සේ එවැනි කියන්නේ අකටයුතුකම් සේවාදායකින්ට අකටයුතුකම් කරපු නීතිඥවරු කොච්චර පමණ ඔබතුමා සංගමයේ
කියනවා මට සංඛ්‍යාලික නෑ. නමුත් පත්තරේ කියවුවොත් අපි
ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයට වාර්තා කරලා තියෙනවද?
ඔව් අනිවාර්යයෙන්. ඒ වෘත්තීභාවය අහිමි කරපු අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා. ඒ අවුරුද්දේ එකක් තියෙනවා. ඔව් දැන් මම හිතන්නේ දැන් නම් විතර ප්‍රශ්න ටික අහලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් තව ප්‍රශ්න දැන් අපේ මත නැති. බොහොම ස්තුතියි. මේ මාධ්‍ය සගයන්ට බොහොම ස්තුතියි. ඕගොල්ලෝ අපේ පොඩි දැනුම් දීමකින් ආවට.
The National People's Power lawyers have expressed their deep condolences over the assassination of attorney Buddhika Malabarachi and his wife. In a statement released by the organization, they strongly condemned the challenges posed to the rights of civilians and the judicial system by underworld gangs and thugs, groups they claim were nurtured for political purposes in the past. The NPP lawyers emphasized that while the current government is working to end the dark chapter where violent thugs held the power to kill unarmed citizens, it must now act with even greater urgency and speed to achieve that goal.
2 shooting incidents were reported in the island last night. 2 people lost their lives and 4 others were injured in these shootings, which took place in Jintupitia and Colombo and Kalutara North.
2 people who arrived on a motorcycle carried out this shooting at around 8:15 last night inside a salon located in Jintupitia, Colombo 13. While the rider remained on the motorcycle, the gunman entered the salon and opened fire, targeting the people inside. The gunman fired approximately 17 shots. 5 people inside the barber shop were injured and 1 of them succumbed to their injuries. The deceased was a 20-year-old resident of Mana. The injured were aged 19, 27 and 28 and are residents of Silavatra, Grand Pass and Kotahena.
In
yesterday's incident at Jintupitia, that young man was actually someone who had come to get a haircut. It happened inside the salon. He was not a person involved in any criminal activity. We believe there were 2 youths from Silavatura area. There was one aged 20 and the other 19. There were 2 employees of the shop. As we see it, the salon was closed and the doors weren't open. The shooting was done through the glass. The bullets went through the glass and hit those 2, as well as the barber. We believe that person was not involved. We are investigating yesterday's incident. That young man didn't come there for drug trafficking. He just came to get a haircut.
Meanwhile, the motorcycle used by the suspects has been recovered. Police said that the motorcycle was found abandoned along the Mahavidyalaya Mavatha in Kotahena. The owner of a small grocery store was killed in another shooting incident that occurred last night near the Vadi Mankada No. 1 railway station in Kalutara North. At around 7:30 p.m. last night, 2 individuals arrived in front of the shop on a motorcycle and the gunman opened fire targeting the shop owner. Police stated that the shooting was carried out using a firearm capable of firing 9mm ammunition. The shop owner, who sustained critical injuries, succumbed to his injuries after being admitted to the Kalutara Nagoda hospital. He was 33 years old. Meanwhile, the motorcycle suspected to have been used by the assailants was found abandoned on the Bandaragama Horana road. Police added that the shooting was the result of a conflict between 2 organized criminal gangs.
Solutions to suppress this ongoing wave of shooting incidents were also clarified during today's police media briefing.
The primary reason for this is the prevalence of firearms within society. We cannot ignore that fact. Based on our experience, there have been instances where weapons were smuggled in alongside drug trafficking operations. Furthermore, weapons that entered circulation during the war era are still out there. While I don't have the exact statistic with me right now, the police have seized a large number of firearms, including T-56 rifles and 9mm pistols over the past year. However, more weapons remain in circulation. Specifically, from the 1st of January 2025 to date, the STF alone has seized 11 T-56 rifles, 12 pistols, 7 revolvers and 322 other types of weapons. Imagine the police have seized even more than that. If all those weapons were still out in society, this problem would have been much worse. Therefore, our approach is not just to recover weapons after an incident occurs. Our goal is to make every effort to seize the firearms currently in society before they can be used.
Former Army Commander Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca emphasizes that mine incidents in the country do not pose a threat to national security. He said that there is no debate that the underworld was nurtured by politicians who were in power.
On national security, there isn't a massive issue. Various groups and factions have been accustomed in the past to things like instigating riots and stirring up racism. Such people sometimes try to do various things to build an image for themselves. However, I believe the Triforces and the police are carrying out the necessary duties properly during this time. You can't protect a place in a way that prevents minor incidents from ever happening anywhere. Even 1 or 2 people are enough to carry out a minor incident. That is not a national security crisis. I don't think there is a reason to panic. The government likely understands this. The ministers in this government also have some understanding of the country's past. Therefore, I believe they are currently in a position to manage the situation. I think the underworld is still active to some extent. That wasn't a political crime. It was a place where the underworld operated. We certainly know that the underworld has not been 100% suppressed yet. 1 or 2 people getting on a motorcycle and shooting someone somewhere is not an easy thing to stop, even if you deployed the entire army into Colombo. The government and relevant authorities will have to take certain steps regarding that in the future. Yes, it was those who were in power previously who did that. There is no doubt about it. There is no debate. They are the ones who did those things. They are the ones who grew it. Everything was done under their shadow. However, I don't think the current government ever had dealings with such an underworld. Because of that, it definitely needs to be cleaned up rapidly. There must be people holding those responsibilities. They likely have some plan in mind. Let's wait and see.
Newsfirst with the people.
Today marks the festival of Mahashivaratri, celebrated with great devotion by Hindus across the world. According to Hindu belief, today marks the miraculous day on which Lord Shiva demonstrated to the world that he is the most powerful among the gods. Following a dispute between Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva regarding who held supreme power, Lord Shiva manifested as a pillar of light extending from the depths of the earth to the highest heavens. He declared that whoever could find either end of this light would be deemed the most powerful. Despite Lord Vishnu taking the form of a bow to dig through the earth and Lord Brahma taking the form of a swan to soar through the skies, neither was able to find its limits. Consequently, Hindu devotees believe this solidified Lord Shiva's statue as the supreme deity. Mahashivaratri is celebrated on the auspicious day that Lord Shiva emitted this magnificent pillar of light. Devotees will observe the festival from tonight until tomorrow morning, engaging in rituals and tributes to honor Lord Shiva. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake in his Mahashivaratri message stated that after having recently faced one of the most severe natural disasters in recent times, Sri Lanka is now advancing with firm resolve and careful planning towards a new era of renewal marked by political, economical and social transformation. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya issued a message noting that Mahashivaratri stands as a profound symbol of the triumph of light over darkness and wisdom over ignorance. The Frontline Socialist Party has announced that they will stand on behalf of the 12 individuals who were sentenced to death over the assault and murder of Member of Parliament Amarakirti Athukorala and his security officer.
We were an active part of the Aragale to oust Gotabaya Rajapaksa. We remain a group that stands for and protects the rights and the political aspirations of that struggle. When we stand for a certain political course of action and its results manifest, we cannot later turn around and say we don't know anything about that. Therefore, we are now intervening in this issue. In a way, this judgment was given to erase this socio-political experience from society. After the judgment was delivered, an official from the Attorney General's Department came out and said that the death penalty should be sought not just for 12, but for the remaining 33 individuals as well. He said, that is how we work. We will work towards that next. This is the Attorney General's Department. Who is the Attorney General's Department? The representatives of the state. And who controls the state now? This government, the NPP government. This means the lawyers of the Attorney General's Department are representing the views and aspirations of the NPP government within the court. That incident occurred alongside a chain of prior events. If the attack at the Gallface grounds had not happened on the morning of the 9th of May, the events of the evening of the 9th would have never taken place. The evening occurred because of what happened that morning. Who created that morning? The Rajapaksas. Understand that clearly. The Rajapaksas incited and sent those crowds to Gallface, not just to visit and leave quietly. They sent them to assault and kill. However, at that moment, people from nearby private and state institutions rushed to the Gallface Green, shouting in protest. It was because they came that the lives of the 40 or 50 youth who were there were saved. Understand this well. If those 40 or 50 lives had been ended that day, the momentum the attackers would have gained wouldn't have stopped at Gallface. They were ready to set the whole country ablaze. This is a country where a minister once said that the teacher's struggle would end if you kill a crow and hang its body. As a warning, that minister was from the Pohottua. That is how the Pohottua spoke against the people and their struggle back in the day. Therefore, that day, they weren't just prepared to set Gallface on fire. They intended to set the entire country on fire with that confidence. That is what was prevented that day. The Aragale was able to move towards victory because that leap was taken. Understand this too. It is because that leap was taken that the NPP was able to come into power.
These are the views expressed by Deputy Minister Namal Karunaratne.
Why did the Gallface Aragale happen? The answers to that question also lie with Namal Rajapaksa and his associates. They themselves are the reason such a struggle was created. The Supreme Court delivered a verdict naming the respondents responsible for bankrupting our country's economy. 3 Rajapaksas are included in that list. Namal Rajapaksa's father is there and his paternal uncles are there as well. So it was through the actions they took that the struggle was born. The attack on that struggle, which turned into a violent situation, began with the course of action taken at the meeting convened by Namal Rajapaksa and others on the 9th. They turned our country into a bankrupt state. The international community declared it so. Sri Lanka was officially declared a bankrupt nation. It was declared such because of their actions. Therefore, the people of this country cannot forget those facts.
Speaking regarding the US foreign policy in the South Asian region, senior officials in the Trump administration sounded an alarm over China's growing influence in the South Asian region, specifically highlighting the strategic vulnerabilities of Sri Lanka and the Maldives. The discussion held recently and led by US Representative Bill Huizenga underscored the critical importance of the island nations to the global economy as well as US national security.
kind of ended on the Bangladeshi elections, but we also have the Nepalese elections upcoming. If you want to briefly comment on that, and then what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the strategic issues regarding the Maldives and Sri Lanka and the sort of the Chinese view of their string of pearls theory of how they are going to spread their influence around the Indo-Pacific.
Sure, thank you. I think we talked about Bangladesh. I think it's a great thing to see, and we're very optimistic about it. And our approach to Nepal is similar. I mean, these are both examples of youth movements overthrowing older governments and now creating the opportunity for democratic participation in their countries. So with Nepal, we also trust that we'll have a secure and peaceful electoral process, and we're prepared to work with whoever wins.
How about Sri Lanka and the Maldives and any other string of pearls issues that we might be
so those smaller oceanic South Asian states have, I think, outsized importance because of their location.
I believe I heard Sri Lanka has something like 75% of all the world's energy passes within
I think
miles of
that's
its
right.
shores.
And probably about half of the container shipping, I believe, whatever the exact number is, it's a lot. And so those SLOCs, those sea lanes of communication, are really important, very important to keep them free and open for the world economy. And those countries are positioned in ways that they can have actually outsized impact on trade and energy flows through there. So it's very important that those countries are able to maintain their freedom of action and not be coerced by China, by predatory lending and the kinds of things that you talked about earlier. Some of the ways that we can do that is to engage these countries with financing, to kind of identify strategic infrastructure projects, I guess is what I would say, and not allow them all to be dominated by China, I think, which is really what China wants to do. If you think about Sri Lanka and Hambantota Port, they have a 99-year lease on it. Those are the kinds of dangers that we see with Chinese development schemes. So we need to be able to offer alternatives, high-quality, transparent, non-coercive alternatives, and I think we can do that with our financing mechanisms, our technology, and our private enterprise, our private business, and it's something very important to President Trump to be able to create opportunities for U.S. business.
Have we seen some of that same infrastructure in the Maldives, Chinese infrastructure?
Yeah, so there's a port in the Maldives, Tilafushi Port. It was actually designated a port of the future by the Quad, I believe. And so there's been some Chinese investment there. Not the whole thing, but they're interested for sure.
You heard it, folks. He's encouraged us to go investigate the Maldives. So happy to take that suggestion.
The 78th anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence was proudly celebrated in Seychelles, highlighting the long-standing friendship and cultural ties between the two nations.
The National Independence Day of Sri Lanka was celebrated in Seychelles, organized by the Sri Lanka-Seychelles Friendship Association at the International Conference Centre in Seychelles. The event brought together senior officials, diplomatic representatives, community leaders and members of the Sri Lankan diaspora, featuring cultural performances that showcase Sri Lanka's rich diversity. The Minister for Tourism and Culture of Seychelles attended the occasion as the chief guest.
The streets of Colombo transformed into a living museum this morning as a classic car club of Ceylon flagged its annual heritage rally.
John, where are we today? Kinal, we are at the heritage rally organized by the Classic Car Club of Ceylon. Yes, now what you see behind us are timeless classics from 1960 to 1980. Yes, now this isn't just a display of mechanical endurance, it is a celebration of Sri Lanka's automotive preservation culture. Well, this is the Heritage Rally.
The event, which commenced at 8 a.m. from Nawamavata, saw an impressive assembly of approximately 60 classic automobiles. The lineup features a diverse range of motoring history, with vehicles manufactured between the 1950s and the 1980s, meticulously maintained by local enthusiasts. Unlike traditional speed-based races, the Heritage Rally is a fun rally focused on precision and navigation. Drivers and their navigators tackle a course designed to test their timekeeping skills while showcasing these vintage machines in a modern urban environment. Following the rally, the vehicles were stationed for a formal car display.
The classic beast from 1980s line, powerful and rugged, built for any climb. Engine roaring, gears in sync, ready to explore. Off-road champion, let's conquer more.
I can say that everyone seems to have had a jolly good time, enjoyed every moment of the way from the start to the finish. Obviously, not everyone is going to win. The purpose of the rally, I believe, is, as always, to celebrate authentic classic cars in Sri Lanka, mostly from the colonial era, coming into the early sort of years of Sri Lanka as an independent state. What else can I say? When I look at these cars, I can see year after year, decade after decade, the amazing condition the cars are in from when the Classic Car Club was originally formed a few decades and a half ago. The standard of restoration, the level of enthusiasm and the participation is difficult to match.
Well, I think it's a wonderful event, and each year it seems to attract more and more participants, because I think there are many more young guys particularly who are taking to classics and appreciating the beauty and value of these cars.
The day concluded with an award ceremony in 3 categories based on year of manufacture, namely cars up to 1960, cars from 1961 to 1980, and cars from 1981 onwards.
From the row of vintage engines to the final exhibition here in Colombo, these rolling museums remind us of a time when every curve and chrome bumper told us a story.
Yes, we are now with over 60 classic cars parading the streets of Colombo. This was the Heritage Rally.
Bangladesh has extended invitations to the heads of governments from 13 countries, including India and Sri Lanka, for the swearing-in of its new cabinet on Tuesday, the 17th of February.
The swearing-in ceremony of the new cabinet under BNP chief Tariq Rahman will be held on the 17th of February. The list of nations invited to attend the ceremony includes India, China, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Malaysia, Brunei, Sri Lanka, Nepal, the Maldives and Bhutan. The ceremony follows the Bangladesh Nationalist Party's landslide victory in the 13th parliamentary elections held earlier this month, which ends the tenure of the interim administration led by Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus. The newly elected members of parliament are scheduled to take their oaths in the morning of the 17th, administered by the Chief Election Commissioner. The cabinet, led by Rahman as Prime Minister, will be sworn in during an evening ceremony on the same day.
Dharma Yuddha 2 set a new record once again today.
මගේ නම හරිචන්ද්‍ර. මේ මගේ පාපොච්චාරණය.
The island-wide screening of Dharma Yuddha 2 began on the 23rd of January 2026. The cinematic creation set new revenue records within the first few days of its release, leading to houseful signs at every cinema. Today, the cast of the film visited several theatres to meet with their fans. This is the warm welcome they received in Kegol. The cast also met with audiences at the KCC premises in Kandy.
මේ කට්ටිය හැමෝම දකින්න ලැබීම හරිම සතුටක්. ගොඩක් සතුටුයි. චිත්‍රපටය හරිම ලස්සනයි. අපි බැලුවා පුතත් ගොඩක් ආදරෙයි විමල් ජයකුටිට.
පවුලේ ආරක්ෂාව ගරුත්වයේ පැවැත්ම වෙනුවෙන් දෙමාපියෝ කරන කැපකිරීම හොඳ විදහා දක්වන හොඳ ෆිල්ම් එකක්.
හරිම සතුටුයි අපි අද ආවිල්ලා ඒගොල්ලන්ව සියසීම දැක්කගෙන.
මම ඉතාමත් සතුටුයි සදීම සියලු දෙනාම දකින්න ලැබීම. ඇත්තටම අතිවිශේෂ නිර්මාණයක් කිව්වොත් නිවැරදි.
Meanwhile, 10 lucky winners were selected via a raffle draw held among the audience during the screenings. They were given the opportunity to join the film's cast for lunch.
Today we set another record. In 20 days, Dharma Yuddha has earned a revenue of 250 million rupees. I believe that in a few days we will be able to surpass 300 million rupees. We were able to do this only because of all of you who believed in this movie and came to watch it. On behalf of the Sirasa Media Network, we thank each and every one of you.
The screening of Dharma Yuddha 2 at cinemas across the island will continue.
Look at us next.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.